Hey guys, sorry I look a little rough. I've been working on my patio, so I'm all dirty and gross. But I wanted to go ahead and do chapter 3 of Mouse. As we get further into the PDF, one thing you'll notice is that I'll probably switch to reading off of my computer screen because your PDF of Mouse is a little bit different than my photocopy. So I want to make sure that I'm reading on your PDF. So, chapter 3. And here my troubles began. So remember that Vladik had some good luck, and he was also very resourceful while in Auschwitz so far. He's been able to be kind of a helper for one of the Polish guards, teaching him English. So he's been protected until this time. And now he's a tinsmith. So he's working on tin roofs for buildings. And he said that all the time in Auschwitz, they were building things. So he was pretty lucky up until now. And so chapter 3 is, and here my troubles began. Come, it's time now. We'll hurry for lunch to the bungalow. So you were actually in touch with Anya in Burkow? Yeah, from Manchi I had a real contact with Mother until later I could bring Anya to... Wait, who's Manchi? She was a Hungarian Manchi who worked sometimes there. Beautiful, tall, blonde girl and clever. Rest behind that stack of wood. I'll warn you if a guard comes close. She had a lover, I heard, later an SS man. He got for her a good position over 10 or 12 other girls from Burkow. Psst, miss, up here. I see how kind you are. Help me, please. Huh? What do you want? Nothing for me, but I am afraid for my wife in Burkow. Can you find out if she's still alive? I told her Anya's name and number. I've saved food. I can pay for your help. Keep your food. We'll be working here again in a few days. I'll see what I can find out. Each day I looked. 4 days later I saw her. I met a woman named Anya from Sosonic. She's very frail. She spoke over to one of her workers. I spoke only to the tin so no one would notice. Someone told her that her husband is still alive, and she started sobbing with joy. I heard this, and I started also to cry a little, and Manchi, she too started to cry. When I visited to Anya there, I saw with my own eyes how it was. Wait, you saw Anya? Yeah, every few days it came an SS commission to the tin shop. You have more workers than you need here. Give us 10 workers to take back to the main camp for other work. Well, take that one and that one. And wait, don't take him. He's one of my best roofers. Take that one and that one. The unlucky ones went over for bad jobs, but me Yettel kept protected. Send a crew to Sector BIB in Burkow, and some of the roofs in the women's camps have collapsed. Let me go to Burkow. I've never seen it. So, Spiegelman, go, and don't come back for all I care. Ha! I give up my best 10 men, and you I save. Why? So I marched with a few 10 men over to Burkow. I came the first time in the summer of 1944. So he was able to find out that his wife is still alive in Burkow, and then he was able to go over to Burkow as a tinsman to fix some of the roofs in the women's camp because they separated the men and the women. Hundreds of thousands of Hungarians were arriving there at this time. Inside the camp, we called out. Maybe somebody knew if our loved ones are still alive. Eva Goldenberg from Lautz. Anya Zingenberg from Sosonic. My God, that's Vladik. I've got to go tell Anya. I was so happy. Someone brought somehow Anya over. Don't look up, darling. A guard may spot us. She looked so like a skeleton. Did Manchi bring you my letters? Yes, and when she came, she gets me a job in the kitchen. My friends wait outside, and I bring them scraps. No! Save your scraps. What if you lose that job? What if something happens to Manchi? Don't worry about friends. Believe me, they don't worry about you. They just worry about getting a bigger share of your food. But my friends are always hungry, and I don't have much of an appetite. I beg you, Anya, Keep yourself strong for my sake. Just seeing you again gives me strength. I have to go before anyone notices I'm missing. I think of you always. I was a few times in Burkow, and once I had finally troubles, I was going from work and I passed by Anya. Vladik! 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 Anya, darling, did you get the food I sent you? Yes, you always arrange miracles. I think about you always. We spoke a moment only, and when I went on, a guard screamed at me. Halt! Who are you talking to? Nobody. A stranger asked if I knew her brother at Auschwitz. I didn't know anything, so I hardly answered. Get inside. When I'm finished with you, you'll know something, you Jewish pimp. You're not here to be flirted and gossiped. Count the blows. If you lose count, I'll start again. Zin, Zain, Dreen. So he beat me. What can I tell you? Only thank God Anya didn't get also such a beating. She wouldn't have lived. The next days it was hard to go to work, but to go to the hospital I could easy not come back again. It wasn't a place with medicines, only a place full of prisoners too sick to go to work. Each day it was skeletons. The doctors chose out the weaker ones to go and die. In the whole camp was skeletons. I went 2 times in front of Dr. Mengold. We stood without anything, straight like soldiers. He glanced and said, "Face left." They looked to see if it was sores or pimples on the body. Then again, face left. They looked to see if eating no food made you too skinny. Face left. If you had still a good, healthy body to work, they passed you through and gave you another uniform until it came the next selection. When first I came, I was very strong then and came well to the good side. The ones that had no luck, that were not so lucky, the SS wrote down their number and sent them to the other side. So real quick, Dr. Mengele is probably the most famous doctor during the Holocaust. He was nicknamed Dr. Death. He would do experiments on people, specifically children and twins. He would harm one twin in one room and then see if the other twin could feel it in another room to see if they had like the psychic connection. He would starve people and see how long it would take before they would die. He was an awful, awful man. So the fact that Art went in front of Dr. Mengele twice and lived is extraordinary. The second selection, I was in the barracks, and the bed up for me was a fine boy, a Belgian boy. I dreamed my wife was alive. She was cooking a giant roast with thick gravy and fried. Stop, Felix. Don't think about food. We were expecting dinner guests. We waited and we waited. Then the gong rang. I woke up without even tasting the Blocksphere. A Blocksphere, this meant you must not step out of your room. They took then the Jews to the selection. I came again to the good side, but this Belgium, he had maybe a rash, and they wrote his number. Any time they could take him, all night he cried and he screamed. Here, Felix, have a piece of my bread. Look, they're going to kill us all here eventually. You this week, me next week. None of us can escape it. We must be brave. And who knows, maybe it's not even your turn yet. So we calmed down a little. But later he again started. What could I do? I couldn't tell to the Germans they won't take him. And the next day, they took him. So in the tin shop, I had still the same story with Vettel. Only 1 apple for me today. Is business bad, Mr. Capitalist? What happened to the shoemaker who worked in here? Oh, a lot of the Polish prisoners went to camps inside the Reich. They took some of my boys, too. I ran to the capo in charge of all the shops. Do you need a new shoemaker? Sure, the SS took the old one away, but they're still bringing in shoes. You know, I've been a shoemaker since childhood. You don't look like a shoemaker to me. You're a tinman. Do I have to have it written on my forehead? All right, then, fix this. I learned a little shoe fixing watching how they worked when I was with my cousin Milik there in the ghetto shop. To fix such an open sole, I knew to take a double thread smeared with wax. Make then a hole and push the thread halfway only, and on the upper part put 2 holes even to the soles. Bring the thread through these 2 holes, cross the thread from the top and the bottom, both ends through a new hole in the sole, and repeat. So until the shoe is closed. And so it's made. You can't even see it stitching. You're better than our last shoemaker. You see, it's good to know how to do everything. So now I was a shoemaker. I had here a warm and private room where to sit. Ha! I knew you were an expert tinman, but I never knew you had so many other talents. And here, I didn't have any more to worry will give me out. Officials like better if I fix their shoes than to send them to the big shop inside the camp. This is a new boot. I don't want your repair to show. It's a bad rip. I'll do my best. If it doesn't look brand new by tomorrow, you won't be here anymore. You understand me? I knew to fix soles and heels, but what this Gestapo wanted, it needed a specialist. So, going from work, I hid this boot to sneak it to a real shoemaker in Auschwitz. Can you fix this? I'll give you a day's ration of bread. For a day's ration of bread, I can fix anything. I watched careful how he did it, so next time I could save myself such bread. The next day I had the boot ready for this Gestapo. He left the boot and went without one word, and he came back with a whole sausage. You did a good job. You know what this was? A whole sausage? You can't imagine. I cut with a shoe knife and ate so fast I was a little sick after. Even paper was hard to have there. My friends came always to me when they needed. I found and I saved. For the toilet, most use a piece from their cloths on their hand. Why didn't other people save paper, Dad? Art, you know how most people are. So I wrote over to Anya that now I am a shoemaker, and I hear about these new barracks. And man, she took it. She was so good. Always she took things for me. On the back from my letter, Anya wrote how much she wanted only to come to such a barrack near me. Anya's barracks was maybe 1,000 girls within a bad capo what hit anybody what would come near her. Sneak, I saw you take a second piece of bread. No, She had leather boots, not wood. They were in a very bad shape, but really leather. So he finds out, he's so smart. He finds out that Anya's in a barracks with 1,000 other girls with this capo, this really mean leader that's got pretty jacked up leather boots that need to be fixed. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to fix her boots and then I'm going to be able to protect Anya. Nice boots. It's a pity the soles are coming apart. So what do you care? You could send them to my husband. He's a shoemaker in Auschwitz. Oh, really? So she arranged the boots over to me. Of course, I fixed very nice the shoes, and the capo then was very different with Anya. That soup can be a little heavy for you. Come rest in my room until the appeal's over. She was very different to Anya. When no one saw, I went back and forth until I saw her When nobody saw, I went back and forth until I saw her from far going to make munchins. She went also back and forth until it was safe to approach over to my food packages. But one time, it was so bad. Hey, you stop! So he's been sneaking Anya food. Drop that package and stop right there. Stop! She ran, she didn't know where, into her own block. Only a friend from Anya was there in the room, and the room cleaner. Hide me, Lona, quick. Get under the blankets. I know you're in here somewhere, and when I find you, I'll kill you right here on the spot. It was several rooms there and hundreds of beds. In one, Anya lay shaking, afraid, and breathing even. I'll kill you, I'll kill you. For maybe an hour, like crazy, she ran from room to room, throwing upside down the beds. Bah! Get all the beds in order before the appeal. Okay, Anya, it's safe to come out now. But this wasn't yet over. On the evening of the appeal, she came again, this capo. The prisoner I chased this afternoon will now step forward. But Mother didn't step out. It will be better for you if you step out than if I find you. She came back and forth looking in each face, but with the stripes everyone looked the same. If you know who she is, push her forward or you will all suffer. She made them to run, to jump. to bend until they couldn't anymore, then more the same. For a few appeals it went this way, but nobody of Anya's friends gave her out. You can imagine what she went through. So she almost got caught. She almost got killed. None of her friends ratted her out. But how scary that must have been. All right, so we are back to present time now. Such a good girl with my special bread she knew to make. Mala wouldn't have done such a good sandwich. It was only the bread in the house. Want some tea or coffee? I can make. I have a tea bag near to the sink drying from breakfast. How did you become a tinman again, Dad? Mala could go for a whole evening out with her friends and leave for me nothing cooked to eat or drink. You see how it is? I have now one more time and unnecessary suffering in my life. So how did you get back into the tin shop, Pop? When the Russians came near, the Germans made ready to run from Auschwitz. They needed a tinman to pull apart the machineries of the gas chambers. They wanted to pack it all to Germany. There they could take also all the Jews to finish them off in quiet. So he's forced to become a tinsman again because the Germans know the Russians are coming into Auschwitz. So the Russians want the tinmen to tear apart all the gas chambers and bring them back to Russia with all the Germans so they can kill the rest of them. It's crazy to me to think that even at the end of all this, they still wouldn't give up, that they wanted to kill these people. They were going to bring all of the equipment to kill them back into Germany so they could kill them. The Russians didn't want to leave anywhere a sign of what they had did. You heard about the gas, but I'm telling not rumors, but only what really I saw. For this, I was an eyewitness. So a little bit about the gas chambers here. I came to one of the 4 Cremo buildings. It looked so much like a big bakery. From below ground in the gas room, we tinmen had to take out the pipes and the fans for ventilation. There was a factory to make 1, 2, 3 ashes and smoke from all what came here. There was an underground dressing room, an underground gas chamber, and ovens. Special prisoners worked here separate. They got better bread, but each few months they also were sent up in the chimneys. One from them showed me everywhere how it was. People believed, really, it was here for a place for showers, that they were told. They came to a big room to undress their clothes, what looked so. Yes, here is a place so like they say. If I saw a couple of months before how it was all arranged here, only one time I could see it. So they had a place where everyone would get undressed, and it looked just like big showers. And everybody crowded inside into the shower room, and the door closed, hermetic, and the lights turned down, and Zyklon B, a pesticide, dropped into the hollow columns. It was between 3 and 30 minutes. It depended how much gas they put, but soon was everybody no more alive. The biggest pile of bodies lay right next to the door where they tried to get out. This guy who worked there, he told me, he pulled the bodies apart with hooks, big piles with the strongest on top. Older ones and babies were crushed below. Often their skulls were smashed. Ugh. Their fingers were broken from trying to climb up the walls. And sometimes their arms were as long as their bodies, being pulled from their sockets. Enough, but I didn't want to hear anymore, but anyway, he told me. They pulled the bodies with an elevator up to the ovens, many ovens, and to each one they burned 2 or 3 at a time. To such a place finished my father and my sisters and my brothers, so many. What are they doing there? Digging trenches in case the Russians attack? Trenches, ha! Those are giant graves they're filling in. It started in May and went all summer. They brought Jews from Hungary, too many for their ovens, so they dug their big crematorium pits. The holes were big, so like swimming pools of the Pines Hotel here. And train after train of Hungarians came. And those what finished in the gas chambers before, They got pushed in these graves. It was the lucky ones. The others had to jump in the graves while still they were alive. Prisoners what worked there poured gasoline over the live bodies and the dead bodies. And the fat from the burning bodies they scooped and poured again so everybody could burn better. So they were bringing in so many Hungarian Jews a day, they couldn't fit them in the crematoriums, and they couldn't fit them in the gas chambers. So they just threw them in these huge holes and lit them on fire. Jesus. Ark, it's 2:30. Look how the time is flying. And still so much to do today. It's dishes to clean, dinner to defrost, and my pills I haven't even counted. I don't get it. Why didn't the Jews at least try to resist? It wasn't so easy like you'd think. Everyone was so starving and frightened and tired they couldn't believe even what was in front of their eyes. And the Jews lived always with hope. They hope the Russians can come before the German bullet arrived from the gun into their head. Crash! Oops! Oh, you see how my head is? It's my favorite dish now broken. Pop, it's only a dish. But why didn't they try to make just take one Nazi with them? In some spots, people did fight. But you can kill maybe one German before they kill fast 100 from you. Then it's everyone dead. In this way, it was also everyone dead, no? Don't throw away. I can glue still together that plate. I guess I'll do the dishes now. No. You can defrost out the turkey legs. You only would break me the rest of my plates. That night, he's asleep at last. It's amazing how hard it is to spend a whole day with him. He just radiates so much tension. Poor guy. I guess he's worse than usual because of Mala. Nah, he's always been that way. It's one of the reasons she did run off. Do you think they'll get back together? I sure hope so. Otherwise, he's our responsibility, and I don't think I can take it too much more of him any longer. Ah! What's that noise? Oh, nothing. It's just Vladik. He's moaning in his sleep again. When I was a kid, I thought that was the way all grown-ups slept. It's so peaceful here at night. It's almost impossible to believe that Auschwitz ever happened. Uh-huh. Ow! But these damn bugs are eating me alive. Me too. Come on, let's go inside and read. It's getting kind of chilly out anyway. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll be reading the Noose Titans, chapter 4, and see what happens with Vladik in the midst of tearing apart the crematoriums as the Russians are coming in. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you soon.